Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wednesday Call Live. Live from Alliance headquarters in beautiful Burlington, North Carolina. Hosted today by guest host Stephen Davies. Brought to you by AM Studios in front of a live studio audience. Featuring in-depth training and the latest Alliance news. Now, let's hear it for your host, Vice President Stephen Davies.
Slap hands. Slap hands. Everybody slap hands. Slap hands. Slap hands. Yeah. Woo. All right. All right. Woo. Good to be here. Holy cow, it's good to be here. In fact, I was running late. Y'all can grab a seat.
S-Diddy's in the building.
I almost didn't make it. We were tight on getting here because earlier today I was involved in an awards ceremony. Well, see, here's what it is. The state of North Carolina actually honored me today. They named me a defendant. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but it sounds important. Apparently, they were so impressed with how fast I was getting to Burlington, they were like, we need to commemorate this. I know, right? Just when you think nobody's watching, you're like, man. Yeah, they said, we've never seen people move between 2 points on the interstate like that. And they said, for your efforts today, we'd like to give you this certificate. It feels amazing to win. There's so many people to thank. I mean, all of you that believed in me. Yeah. The guy doing 60 in the passing lane that tried to stop me, I pushed through obstacles, right? Yeah. So it just feels great to win. I'm glad I got to share that with you guys. And there's actually going to be a second ceremony, apparently. Yeah, so, yeah, I'll need to find out what the dress code is, but anyways, that's interesting. Perspective. All right. So everything's up. Everything's up.
Yeah, it is.
Every night I look for my reports. And the cool thing, I don't know if you know this, I was just in California. Just got back from California late last night. I was out there in Rancho. Holy cow. What a hot spot. What a group of people. And out there, they get the daily reports earlier. Yeah. On the East Coast,
That's right.
I have to wait till about 10:30. In California, they get them at like 7:30. Did y'all know that? That makes no sense because Burlington is here. But I guess they must live in the future.
That's right.
But every night I can't wait to get my reports because I'm just like, I can't wait to see what it is now. I mean, we're hitting weeks where we're 80% above our 6-week average.
Wow.
It's like that all over the Alliance. Everybody's selling, everybody's recruiting, everybody's building.
That's right.
And we need you growing too. Because let me tell you something. Having a little bit of extra money makes life easier and a little more fun.
Yeah.
Can I tell you a quick story before we get started? All right. So here's a fun story about having a little extra money. So my daughter's school, they were raising money for something. I can't remember what it was, but probably like disease or something, right? Well, not for disease, but to help stop it. Right. Just want to be clear. What we donate to, we're not donating to the furtherance of it. We're trying to donate to stop it. And so all the classes are raising money. And there's this one teacher, right, who likes to do good so that other people see her doing good. Anybody know somebody like that? Yeah. So she's all like, my class is always the best, because I get out front and I like to inspire and I, right? Yeah, you should never use the word I that much when you're doing something for somebody else. Yeah, I mean, it's a heads up, man. It's just a teaching point. If it's truly do-gooding, it shouldn't be a lot of I's in it, right? So my wife's there, Holly, and we like our daughter's teacher. She's real cool. So Holly leans into my daughter's teacher and goes, "She always do that?" Darcy's like, "Yeah." I was like, "You want to take her down a notch?" So she says, "Can you find out how much the winning number needs to be, like before it's over?" She's like, yeah. Okay, well, tell me immediately. There's a blank check available to take her down a notch. To take her down a notch for the children. Or whatever it was raising money for. I don't know what it was raising. Yeah, it was a common check. So you can just do that, and I think it's important because that will help the other teacher learn a lesson. I'm hoping through adversity she grows, character building, all that stuff. It's what I do, guys. Our family's committed to helping other people build character, so. Holly told me that. I was like, "That's awesome." I was like, "How big of a check was it?" She's like, "Had a comma in it." I'm like, "Okay." So, March Madness.
Woo! That's right.
Is there anybody out there that is at a new level of belief in self after March Madness?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Isn't it funny how that happens? There's going to be people that don't win the 10 grand that will have made an extra 10 grand by just trying to win the 10 grand.
That's right.
So many breakthroughs coming all over the Alliance. So, week 3. Y'all want to know? All right, let's go. Let's go. All right. Woo. Yeah, it's good. I have a certificate for air conditioning repair. Oh, I actually thought I was doing that with my finger for a second. I was like, this thing's awesome. All right. How do I do it where I can just do this? That's what I want to do. Oh, there we go. All right. Sorry for everybody whose name I ran through. Let's look at the top 33. How about that? And I say top 33 because that's going to come into play even more so in just a minute. All right. So through the third production week of Issue Paid, 33, Shannon Barnhart, Tad Peterson, Anthony Diaz, Adam Johnson, G-Shock, George Andershock, Taylor Smith, Andrew Peters, Mike Puleo, Glenda Graham, Belle Krause, Tim Tipton, Minerve Profil, Nathan Thomas, Mac Judy, Nick Narlis, Scott Broughton, Marty Doge. I think I want a Doge name. Me and Chris Long were talking about that when we found out his name was Doge instead of Doggett. So Chris is Chris Longe, and I am Stephen Devois. Yeah. But that's only when we put on our fancy clothes. I felt bad. We've been called Marty Doggett all those years. It's like, it's actually Doge, guys. I'm like, oh. Sorry for the last 8 years. All right. Paul Epstein, Chadwick Ray, Michael Owens, Eric Belair, Pam Moore,
That's right.
and number 11, Justin Balick. Ooh. How close is it? Oh my goodness, look at that. 26,000, it's oof. Man, that's like a moo child apple way, right there. All right, number 10. And by the way, everybody knows that everybody on the leaderboard has a bunch of stuff that's getting ready to issue this week, right? All right. All right, number 10, James Coleman. Way to go, baby. Number 9, Debbie Ben. Number 8, Robert Wilson, Sarge. That's my brain was. I said Robert, my brain goes, that's not his name. That's what the slight buffering was going on upstairs. All right. Number 7, Arnita Cato. Number 6, Kimberly Spinelli Young. Whoa, he made a big move. Number 5, Bill Cook. Number 4, Chris Long. Way to go, buddy. Chris Long. Christopher. Ah, oui, Christopher. I've been practicing my French accent for the Paris, Switzerland trip, right? Then Holly goes, so you know it's a different language, not just a different accent, right? I was like, Yeah. No, she's right. I looked it up. Yeah. Oui, Christopher, way to go. All right. Number 3, Michelle Alamon.
That's right.
Number 2, Brant Swindell. And number 1, that's my buddy, Mr. Mark Hutchison.
That's right.
Proud of you, Mark. Proud of you. And he had a baby. Well, he didn't. They did.
He put 5 on it.
Yeah. Well, it always amazes me, like, when you're a new father and people come up and congratulate you, it's like, oh, congratulations. It's like, I didn't really do much. Like, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel bad taking congratulations for, you know, the male part of childbirth. Way to go, Mark. Whew. And you look at just the different, man, ooh. I'm telling you what, if it was me, I would be leaving nothing on the field. Nothing on the field. You don't want to, here's what I would be freaking out about. If I was not going to run a day and think about that could be the day that cost me $10,000. Woo, man, that better have been a fun day.
Yeah.
Man, that better have been a good TV show. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Woo, because whatever it is could cost $10,000.
That's right.
But look at all the people on the leaderboard. Look at everybody. Andy, here's what I love about Andy. Andy bets on you.
Yes, he does. Yep.
Andy bets on you. You understand that, right? It's not like he just, like, $100,000 fell down from the sky and he said, oh, we should run a contest. Mm-hmm. He bet on you. He bet on you to grow. Mm-hmm. Think about what that means. Have somebody like Andy that's as intelligent as Andy, and he says, you guys are worth betting on. I will bet on you guys.
Wow.
Think about that.
Wow. That's big.
Because he could bet on a lot of other stuff with $100 grand.
Yep.
You bet on stock market, you bet on this investment, bet on that, but he bet on us.
Wow.
And so what I say, we honor that faith with our actions. What do you say? Are you in?
Yeah.
Let's honor that faith with our actions. He bet on us. He believes in us that much. That's amazing to think about. I was thinking about it on the way down. Now, will Andy continue to bet on us? Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. That's why you see things, or you ever watch a pot of water boil, like when it's close, you know it's getting close? You know that's what it feels like right now at the Alliance. It's about to bubble over, isn't it? We're about to hit the boiling point. About to boil. Anybody think that family reunion is just going to boil over? Anybody know what water boils at? 212. 212. I was talking with Andy and he said, you know, we're about to boil over. And I said, we are. And he said, you know what water boils at? And I said, 212. Because I know what you guys know about water. Some people don't know that, you know. Seriously, like my daughter's class, none of them know that. Ask any one of them you want. They're in first grade, yeah. So if things are about to boil over at family reunion as far as just the volcano's going to explode, Andy said 212. 212 sounds like a good number.
Uh-oh.
And that was the end of the conversation. No, I'm kidding. You know I'm kidding. You know I'm kidding. Here's what Andy decided to do. We got 90 days going into family reunion. We got one. What is 90 days? That's one mad person cycle, right? Yeah. 212 madman cycle. 212 madman cycle. Andy is going to give away $212,000 at family reunion because it's about to boil over. $212,000! $212,000 in cash are going to be given away at family reunion. So not only did Andy bet on all of us for March Madness, he's doubling down again. You want to know how it works?
Yeah.
All right. All right. So there's going to be two sides to it. What do we do at the Alliance? What's the one thing we do? So what do you think you got to do to win this contest? That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. So here's how it's going to work. For production, on the recruiter side, recruiter side first. When you come in 25th through 33rd place in new, unique, productive legs, in other words, you hire somebody, issue paid business. In number of those, if you come in 25th through 33rd, family reunion, Andy's going to give you $500 on stage.
Just like that.
21 through 24, $1,000 on stage. 16th through 20th, $1,500 on stage. 11th through 15, $2,000 on stage. Third place, $10,000 $10,000 on stage. If you've never won $10,000 in front of people before, you really should. I mean, it's just got to be amazing. You walking off stage like, I got $10,000 extra dollars. Yeah. Second place, $15,000. Second place, oh, that was a replay, sorry. Yeah, I could have just played it off like the video feed messed up. Next time. That's my first note. First place, $20,000 live on stage. Now, if you're fast with math, you've already figured out, wait, that's only $106,000. We said $212,000. Also, if you can read the bottom of the screen. Andy said 212. There's another side of the contest. What do we do at the Alliance? We
Sell, recruit, and build.
We saw the recruiting side. Here's the sales side. 25th through 33rd, personal producer, $500. Every single one of them, $500. 21st through 24th, $1,000. Every single one of them. 16th through 20, $1,500. 11th through 15, $2,000. Every single one of them. Third place, $10,000. Second place, $15,000. Number one personal producer in the months of April, May, and June gets $20,000 on stage at family reunion. How many of y'all plan on winning on both sides? Is there anybody out there that thinks that they could win number one on both sides?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Is there anybody that thinks that?
Yeah.
That's right.
What would you do if I told you if you did that there would be even more?
Wow.
Check it out.
There's more.
You win top producer and top recruiter. You get $20,000 for selling, $20,000 for recruiting.
Right.
And Andy's going to give you an extra $10,000, which means if you are number one in both, which I know there's people out there, you can do it. If you're number one in both, that means you will come to family reunion, you will walk on stage, you will receive $50,000 in cash. Imagine what that would look like. Just a lot of people, most people have never seen $50,000 all in one place. Think about that. That's crazy. What does that mean? Andy is betting on us, guys. Andy's betting on you. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it is.
I say we go out and we honor that faith and we do something the Alliance has never done before over the next 90 days. I say we take the next 90 days, you, me, we all go out and we sell and we recruit and we build like we've never done it before to honor Andy's faith in us by betting on us. Are you in? Yeah. Are you in out there? Yeah. Oh, now we can do it. Are you in out there? Isn't that amazing? So, by the way, family reunion tickets about sold out. If it was me, and I'm me, so I'm telling you what I'm going to do, I'm going to go grab some more tickets.
That's right.
Because I know running this contest, I'm going to find some winners. I'm going to want a ticket in the main auditorium for them.
That's right.
Time to go. I know I texted with Lisa LaFave earlier in the week, and it was under 150 at that point. I don't know what's left now. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So I would be grabbing some extra tickets because I plan on winning, and I want a few more people cheering me on.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I want a few more people cheering you on.
Right.
And it might as well be on your team. Might as well be on your team. Awesome, man. When I talked to Andy about that on Sunday night, I was just like, you know, like I'm trying to act like an adult because I think like dear God, I'm 37. Like at some point, you know, but I'm on the phone. Andy's telling me about the contest. I'm just like, because I just know what's about to happen. Because Andy's betting on us, not out of blind faith. Andy's betting on us out of his belief in you and us. And that is going to produce something magical over the next 90 days. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I don't ever wish life away. I don't ever wish life away, but by God, I wish I could just get a peek in just right now what it's going to look like at family reunion. Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. All right. So let's get into the content today.
All right.
Andy wanted me to talk about teamwork, being a team player. Now be clear. Everybody thinks that they are a team player. I mean, there may be one person that's like, nope, not a team player, don't give a rip. There might be one. But other than that, most people think they're team players. If you ask most people, they say, well, are you a team player? They'd say, well, of course I am a team player. I'm a team player. Team first, that's me, right? But would you say most people are team players? If you look at the actions, not the words, would you say most people are team players? Well, the answer is a clear no, right? Right? I mean, just look at what people do. Look how people behave. So what you and I, we don't want to be like the rest of the world. We want to look at ourselves and go, how good of a team player am I? How good of a team player am I? And how can I get better at being a team player? Because by the way, being a team player, it's never it's not a check-off thing. Like, not check off the author, but like check off like a check-off list. It's, you never just check off and go, I'm a team player. Done. What's next in your personal development plan for me, Andy? Team player, got that knocked out. Crushing it in humility right now. And what else you got for me, man? We're running out of stuff for me to develop. The other side of that conversation goes, I know. Running out of raw material. Never mind. So, how good of a team player am I, and how can I get better? Because we're always going to be gravitating somewhere. We're always in motion. You and I, we're fluid until we're not, right? When you're dead, you're not fluid. But other than that, we're going to be moving one way or the other. We're going to be moving either towards being more self-centered, which, by the way, what do you think the world in general would make us? It's moving us that way, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, dear God, we live in a generation of people that were taking so many pictures of just themselves. Not like a scene, not like with other people, but just me. They had to invent a term for it. You know, I mean, think about that. It's crazy. So the world's going to make us more selfish or self-centered. We've got to work to stay more team-oriented, right? We have to work that way. It's not our natural bend. How do I know it's not your natural bend? Let's watch you look at a picture that contains you and other people. Who your eyes looking for first? Yeah. This is how we all are, right? Yeah. Right? You got to know it, right? That's how we are. It doesn't make us bad people. It just means we got work to do. Make sense? So we want to keep working towards being a team player. So I'm going to talk about today with you. I'm going to talk about 7 different things that when I look at the leaders of the Alliance, and I look at people that are just team players. I mean, that's what I love about the Alliance. You think about something like the Ring of Champions. What an amazing trip. Which, by the way, everybody needs to be on that trip. You got to just go agency manager. You got to go agency manager this year and come on these trips. You get to be around people. You get to be around top leaders in the Alliance. Like just the conversations you get to have with somebody like a Paul Roberts in those scenarios. The conversations you get to have with Eleven Tovich. The conversation that Owens and Chadwick Ray and James Hill and I had. Magical stuff, right? So you've got to go on these trips. But one of the things I love about those trips is you really get to see the leaders of the Alliance. And so when Andy said, can he talk about this? I was like, man, that's fantastic. I just spent a week with some of the best team players I've ever seen. And so what I'm talking about today is qualities I see in top team players. You know, we look around that agency manager and above room, and I look at team players. I go, here, what do they have in common? So these are the commonalities, right? Now, are these the only things? No, but it's just the ones we're going to talk about today. And these are the commonalities, which, by the way, commonalities is what you look for. Sometimes when you teach a success principle, people tend to want to find an exception, right? I know I do, especially the stuff I don't want to do, right? Right? You know, like, yeah, I want to find the skinny guy that eats as many chicken wings as he wants, and be like, well, what about him? Right? Like, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm with you. I want exceptions to stuff I don't want to do, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work. We're not going to be happy like that. We're not going to be fulfilled like that, living on exceptions. So stuff we're going to talk about are commonalities. And when I talk about them, well, again, what I want to do, well, as I'm talking, what I'm going to be doing is going, where can I get better at that? Does that make sense? If I looked at the videotape of the last 90 days, which one of these if I go, you might want to work on a, right? Or however you talk to yourself. I talk to myself like that. You missed the mark a little bit on that one, buddy. You might want to work on that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm going to be doing. So I encourage you to do that with me. And let's just move through it, all right? Here's the first thing I notice in top people and team players. They are values driven. The top leaders in the Alliance, the team players on the Alliance, they have taken the core values, our 8 core values, which if you don't know what they are, that would be a great place to start. And just take them one at a time. Start getting them deep down into your heart, where that's what drives you. They're values driven. They're driven by the values of the alliance. Now, when the values of the alliance are clearly inside of you, it's going to make things a lot easier for you. Okay. For instance, think about some of our values. Let's see. I got this. I believe in me that I can do this. Okay. So first thing is values. I might, it's kind of like when you're writing a message to somebody. Isn't it funny how like you go super big in the beginning and you get towards the end and you're like, but then you get to line 2 and you completely forget the lessons learned on line 1. Right. You're right back to, so somebody help me in case I forget. All right. So they're values driven. Oh wait, I should finish the word in the same font. No, actually it'll look like I'm demonstrating that values is the key piece. You're welcome for me thinking ahead to make that bolder. All right. They're values driven. Right? So, here's some things it does for you. It makes it easier to sustain performance. And let's talk about that for a minute. So what are some of the values of the alliance? What values would make it easier to sustain high levels of performance? Well, one I think of is excellence. Which, by the way, if you've not watched the previous few that shouldn't be that hard to say, previous few TWCs, where Andy and Jeff break down the values, that's something I would watch and rewatch again. I'd be listening to it as I'm driving to appointments, driving home from appointments, get the Alliance Media app and just keep running through that stuff. You can't get it all. You can't get it all. I'm watching Andy teach on those values and I'm just going, I'm watching it going, I can't get it all. I've got to go back through it. I'm not going to be able to get all of what's being told, all of what's being taught. I'm going to have to keep going through it. So keep going through those, but one of the things that I'll see it do is it makes it easy to sustain performance. So one of the values that comes to mind particularly is excellence. When he talked about that, excellence, if we're striving for excellence, we're not going to check back out after the contests are over. Because that's not excellence, right? If after family reunion we're like, okay, whew, back to writing $7,000 a month. Is that excellence? No. If after this 90-day Madman contest where Andy's betting on us with $212,000, if after that we check out and go back to just recruiting onesie-twosie, is that excellence? No. So can you see how the value excellence is distilled deep within us? If we got it in there, we can't go back. Does that make sense? We can't revert because that's not excellence. That's right. And by the way, excellence, happiness, if you want to know where happiness happens, it's on the path to excellence. Why? Because we're happiest when we are doing our best. That's why people that think about this past weekend, people that just binge watched on TV and didn't do anything, did any of them wake up particularly inspired Monday? No. You can always tell somebody that spent all weekend on the couch because they just kind of, right? They got the lack of excellence shuffle. That's what that's the.
That's right.
By Wednesday, they're going, hump day. Yeah, almost Friday. Right? See, so not pursuing excellence leads to sadness. That's what. See, the things Andy teaches, the stuff he's trying to hammer into us, it's not about do this so that the alliance sells more insurance. Andy teaches it from this point of view. Do this so you'll be happier. That's right. Selling more insurance is just a byproduct. Recruiting people is just a byproduct. See, Andy understands that fulfillment happens on that path to excellence. That's why he'll hammer something like excellence. Does that make sense? Because he wants you to be happy. Now, when we're happy because we're on our way to excellence, we're going to write a lot more business. We're going to recruit a lot more people. But we're going to be happier.
That's right.
Happiness never comes from half behind and stuff. It never does. Think of anything in the past that you just kind of halfway did. Did it bring any joy to your heart? Yeah. So the value of excellence, when we get the values deep down inside us, it makes it easier to sustain performance. What's another one? How about community? Do you think about it like this? Inspiration is a community responsibility. Am I moving around a lot, making it hard for the camera to switch? Okay, I'm good? Okay. I don't know if you know this, but I'm kind of a mover. In case you haven't learned that from everything about me. I'm very rarely in one place for much longer than a second. Like, I'm trying to not move, and I can't not move. Like, it's like I try to just move without moving. That way it looks like I'm not moving. All right. I want to make it harder on the camera people. So, community. Inspiration is a community responsibility. How many people are more inspired because you're seeing people have breakthroughs on leaderboards? Yeah. You go, oh my God, I didn't know we could do that. Right? So you are now more inspired because somebody tried harder. Does that make sense? So when are you going to pay it back? Let me tell you something. The happiest people in the world are what? Givers or takers? Givers. So when we have the value of community inside of us, it makes us a giver because we're going, I borrowed inspiration from other people when I need it. It's my turn. My turn. It makes sense? The community. You love the community. See, I want to perform at a high level, not just because I want to get rich. And those of you that know me know that like money's not like that. It's not that big of a motivator for me. I want to see people win. Right. And so community, my love of the community is what makes me want to perform at a high level. See, I love Paul Roberts. I love Levin Tovich. We go on and on, right? So it's my job to give them something inspiring to look at because I'm part of the community. It's my job to drive my numbers up so that there's a response, so there's something for them to look at and feel inspired. Because I promise you this, right? What do we know about life? We're either in the middle of something, going into something, or coming out of something. That's right. So while I'm coming out of something, it's my turn to help provide inspiration for the ones that are going into something or the ones that are in the middle of something. That's right. Make sense? Yeah. And so so the value of community makes you perform higher. Because you realize how important you are, and you are so important. That's right. We are less when you're less. That's a fact. Wow. We're more when you're more. I know that sounds basic, but it's true. When you're better, we're better. When I see my crossline brothers growing, I'm going, this thing still works. That's right. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because here's the thing, you'll go through times where you'll be glad that other people are inspiring you. I know in my journey, it'll be 18 years next month that I've been with Andy. There's been times where I've been up because I'm going through something, 3 o'clock in the morning, just wondering, what if it was all just really good luck? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe in luck. But there's times where you question that. You know, you're going, maybe I'm not that good. Maybe it just happened to be a fortuitous set of circumstances. You're going to go through that. I hope you don't, but I mean, reality is you are. And so in those times, I want to be there to inspire you with my example. That's right. That's good. And I just hope and pray you're there to inspire me with yours when I'm in that place. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, community. How about gratitude? Oh yeah, that's a big one. Andy's betting on us. Andy's betting big time on us. $212,000 are going to be given away at family reunion. And think about how cool that is. Just the abundance of it. That like you can pick a number and then just make 1,000 behind it. And say, let's bet that on everybody. It was kind of like when me, Andy, and Patrick Connors were talking, and I forget how it came up, but Andy was talking about, you know, a kid of a certain age. And Patrick's like, well, what age? Because I have one of most of them. and he does. For those of you who don't know Patrick, he's got more than a baseball team. They can field a team. I was just like, huh? No, he's right, Andy. Name age, he's got one. How cool is that? You just say, do you know what's a cool number, Stephen? 212,000. I'm going to put 212,000 out. That's how Andy, oof. So he's betting on us. Gratitude because think about that faith. He doesn't have to do that. Right. But him having that faith in you, what does that mean to you? I got goosebumps thinking about it. So my gratitude for that feeling, just the feeling alone. I mean, let alone all the money we're going to make by trying harder. But just that feeling alone, man, gratitude, we got to grow. We got to make it happen. Does that make sense? I could keep naming values, but here's the point. Values drive you to sustain high levels of performance. That's why you see it in team players. They're very values driven. They're not. Here's the other thing. Here's the other option. You can be driven by the values, or you can be driven by your feelings. Which one will cause you to make better decisions? Right. What are non-performers driven by? Right. You know how you know? Because what do they always tell you? I didn't feel like it. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. Right? I stopped listening, so that's why I don't hear what they're saying. I run out of words. Like, what do they say? If you ever wonder why I gravitate from words to noises, that's because I've stopped. I'm like already mental elevator music on when somebody's complaining like that, and I don't remember the words. It's like a song. I don't know the words. I'm just humming along. I don't know the words. Let me Google the lyrics to Pouting so I know the words. All right. Here's the other thing they help you do. Oops. Yeah. The C is not supposed to be bold. It's not like recovering. It helps you recover. Remember I said, well, we're either in the middle of something, about to go on something, or going to go through something. The values-driven that's what helps them recover. And it's funny because sometimes somebody they'll be fairly new at a hot spot, and they'll be telling how their tale of woe to somebody that's just gone through something. Like, I'm just like, they only knew what that person just fought through. They wouldn't be complaining. You know what I'm saying? You ever seen that? So why do some people recover better than others? Values. Values. I was at a hot spot, and I was talking to this guy. I'm trying to help him, right? And I love him. I'm just going, because he's one of those. I had a lot of hard stuff that I went through this year. And he's just like one of those people that's like they're pouting so much that like in my mind I'm kind of thinking, oh man, he's about to give up on himself. Like and then I think weird things. I'm like, I wonder if he still recycles. Like how given up is he? Does that make sense? Because if you still recycle, you still believe on some level. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, it's right. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. He's wrenched out the bottle, like, things just never gonna get better. You know what I'm saying? Like, are we to the point we stop recycling? How given up are we? Right? On a scale of 1 to I've given up recycling, how much have you given up? Or like given up at the level that like flies will land on somebody for just in a shockingly long period of time. yeah, it's like they know. So our deal typically with the flies is like, get out of here, and then they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I'll be back in 30 seconds. How given up is he? Are flies landing on him, and does he stop recycling, or do we got a chance? Do we got a shot? We got a shot, right? But I'm just going, God, I wish he'd just move instead of just carrying this with him. Well, what would drive somebody to recover well? Values. Think about the values we just went through. Just those, and that way we didn't even go through all 8 of the Alliance's values. We could, right? And you should know them by heart. But if you're driven by the core values of the Alliance, you'll recover well. When I take a hit in the business, it's my job to recover. It's my job to recover. Excellence demands it. Community demands it. Gratitude demands it. Does that make sense? So it's one of the top things I see in people that are the best team players. They are values driven. They don't let feelings drive them. They don't let emotions drive them. Now be clear, not perfect. Not perfect. Just more times than not, the values are driving them. So what can we do? Let's more times than not let the values drive us. Well, let's make the decision. In fact, a lot of times when we're in our deepest, just dark times, we can't necessarily digest hope. Does that make sense? And because you've been through something, and somebody, gave you the old, well, it's going to get better, buddy. It's going to get better. And inside you're like, you don't believe it. Does that make sense? Like I'm not the only one that's been there, right? Okay, just making sure. Because that would be embarrassing. Like, no, the rest of us really, we just kind of, yeah, you might want to see somebody about this. Like, yeah, the rest of us just kind of get up and go to work, you know? I tell you, when you're down like that, you do think like, I'm the only one that's ever had it this bad, right? You can't necessarily digest hope, but when you can't digest hope, what? Find something to do. Does that make sense? So if you're at a point where you just can't digest hope, find something to do. So what would be a good something to do? I got homework for you. Write it down. Here's what we do. Next time we're needing to recover well from a hit we took in the business or in our life, here's the question. What values would affect my decisions now? What values should drive my actions now? Just give yourself something to do. Make sense? So then you can start with the ones I already gave you. Or even a better question, how would the core values drive me to act now? Just give yourself a homework assignment. Does that make sense? And then you start going, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. I can get back, right? I can fight. Not just back, but beyond. Because excellence demands not just back, but beyond. That makes sense? So if it ever seems like team players can grow their business, if you ever looked at somebody like Eleven Tovich and just gone, man, I wish I had no problems like Mike and Noel. Right. I wish I never went through something tough like them, right? The reason it looks like that, what keeps the facade alive, is that the values are driving their behaviors. Yeah. And so because they're taking right actions, results flow. Makes sense? But be clear, it's driven by how deeply the values are inside of the Eleven Toviches. Or I could name up, fill in the blank leader. Who's your favorite leader? No, seriously, who's your favorite leader? No, I'm just I'm just super insecure. I just really hope you guys like me. Okay. We can go. Okay, I can go on. No, but I mean, pick a growing leader in the company, and that's why it looks easier for them. So if you ever like scratch your head and go, how can she? It's because they're values driven, and that makes it easier to sustain and also to recover, which are important parts to building a big business. All right. Has he stopped recycling? I was halfway into saying that, and I was like, man, this could get sideways. Like, I'm glad it didn't. You know why, Terry? Because I'm values driven. All right. Number 2 thing I see in team players. They work hard to leave poor behavior behind. They're not perfect, but they work hard to leave poor behavior behind. That's why they're such an integral part of the team. Now, when we're talking about behavior, a great question Andy gave me one time. Highly encourage you to write this down. Am I living a millionaire moment? Why? How do you become a millionaire? By living a bunch of millionaire moments. It's such a great question because it drives right at the heart of behavior. Are the things I'm doing things that millionaires are doing? Right. Because don't we agree that it would be the heights of conceit to think that we could become one if we didn't behave like one? Right. Can you see how that would be like the heights of conceit? Yeah. Just like if you look at those leaderboards, look at who's leading the March Madman. If we were to go, well, I'm gonna win, but I'm gonna behave poorly, or I'm gonna do this distracting thing, or that. Does it make sense? Yeah. What are you, conceited? Do you think you can? Because they're running light, Bo. Right. Do you think you're going to get there carrying all this extra stuff? It ain't gonna work. So top team players work. They work hard. They're not perfect, but they work hard to let go of unhelpful behaviors. Here's why. Your example matters. You matter to the team. Your example is more important than you could possibly understand. I don't understand how important my example is. How do I know that? Because I still do really dumb stuff. Right? Like I'm Just trying to think, with the accolades I've already received from the state of North Carolina. Like I'm actively working to not text while I drive anymore, because it's the law. Stephen Davies lives by the law, state of North Carolina. But it's funny. Can you tell you what's funny about it? I went to text while riding with Chandler in the car the other day. And I went, oh no, because he's 14 and he's about to start driving. Does that make sense? So that's why I'm saying I still don't understand the power of my example, because I still apparently have that wired wrong in my brain where I'm like, I shouldn't text and drive. I'll wait till he gets out of the car. Does that make sense? And if you're already holy and pious and you have given up texting and driving a long time ago, I'm trying to be more like you. Thank you for your example. I'm still a work in progress. Does that make sense? So if we truly understood the power of our example, we would just behave better. Your example matters to the team. Here's why. When I see you behave better, it makes me want to behave better. And you know that, right? That's the principle of association. Right? Bad association spoils useful habits, right? When you're around people that don't behave well, you often don't behave well. When you're around people that behave well, you often behave well. So if me and you work hard to leave bad behaviors behind, we'll both be better because of each other's example. Does that make sense? Yeah. And that's why you see it in team players. They go, I can't behave like that because it'll hurt the team. My example will hurt the team. And keep in mind, not talking perfection, just working actively to let go of bad behaviors. Don't get overwhelmed too. Sometimes people try to give up all their bad behaviors at once. It's like easy. Yeah. Just pick one this week, we've got years to work on this, what I'm saying? It's going to take a long time, so let's just pick one at a time. Let's just let one go. But your example matters more than you know, so if you and I are going to be better team players, if we're going to move more towards this way of behaving like a team player, we're going to have to work harder to let bad behaviors go. The alliance is better when we're all what? Behaving. The alliance is worse when we're all behaving. Yeah. So we control how much we grow by how well we behave. Make sense? Now, when it comes to behaviors, what are some of the stuff I'm talking about? Well, even before I get into that, let me be clear about this. You're not alone. I'm talking to the people out there. You're not alone. Many of us struggle with behaviors that are unhealthy. Many of us find ourselves attracted to behaviors that are not the best for us. Many of us often think of the enjoyment of said bad behaviors. You are not alone. Call us now. Won't you help? I will remember you. You ever see one of those commercials and think like, just like easy. But yeah, we all are attracted to things that aren't the best for us. So sometimes we don't think like that. Like we think like, well, Andy just loves doing hot spots more than everybody else. Andy never wants to sleep in. Right. Andy never just wants to hang out around the pool all day. We tend to think that about more driven people or bigger people. We tend to think that they don't deal with those same struggles. I promise you they deal with the same struggles. That's why I'm asking you to leave behind some bad behaviors so that I can look at your example and go, yeah, I need to behave too. Does that make sense? Everybody's on the same page as far as this goes. We all are in that struggle. So it's not unique to you. We need you to help the rest of us behave. Does that make sense? And that's why team players take that serious. So what kind of behaviors are I talking about? Well, behaviors like this. Poor performance. That's a poor behavior. Right? After a contest to just go back, what? That's a poor behavior. That's bad behavior. Does that make sense? Being bad with your money. Mismanaging your money. That's a poor behavior. Why? I need your inspiration. You may not need your inspiration. By God, I do. I need you to be more inspiring because I'll be more inspired. So I need you to be good with your money. Does that make sense? Not be a financial disaster. Because when people are a financial mess, it's like, you just want to tell them, like, just just say, here, just try this. I made some bad choices. Like, it doesn't have to be that this amazing, crazy, unique thing happened with only your bank account at Bank of America, and you know what I'm saying? Like the crazy story that goes with this. Just say, I was bad with my money. I'm going to get better. You know what I'm saying? But see, it hurts the team when you're bad with your money. It hurts the team when we give in to cultural cop-outs or other cop-outs, right? It's funny, I'll travel and do hotspots, and some hotspots you go to, they'll say, oh yeah, we start late because everybody, you know how it is in this town, everybody's late. And I'm like, apparently all the towns where there's bad hotspots, that culture exists. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a thing for this town, it's human beings. You know what I'm saying? We have to choose not to be the people that are late. Does that make sense? Things like, well, I just behave like this because that's how I am. You know, I was telling this example in wherever I was at. I just said it in the beginning of the show. It wasn't that long ago, Stephen. Hello, Rancho, right? I was telling the story in Rancho. I was like, so I'm Irish. And I was telling them some of like both my family came from Ireland, like off the boat. And let me be clear, stereotypes are wrong, but some of the stories are funny. God knows the voices are. Right. So I said, you know, as a person that is very Irish, what would you say if I left the hotspot, went out into the hotel lobby bar, got super drunk, and then got in a fight? And I say this because one of my uncles, they went out for my uncle's 65th birthday, and they got in a bar fight and did an overnighter. 65, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, what are you going to do? So then Andy calls me the next morning and says, did you get drunk and get in a fight in the lobby of the hotel? By the way, this is important for you to know at this point. This didn't happen. I'm speaking allegorically. So, yes, that's today's word, allegorically. It's given to telling allegories. And I'll be like, Andy, oh, you know I'm Irish. You know how we are. We like to drink and fight, man. Well, what would he say? Besides, my next phone call is with Jim Henson. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you don't know who that is, well, that's a good thing. Jim's the one that fights for us with the carriers. Or Marshall. Yeah, if you get the phone call from Marshall, yeah, you done did it now. Whatever it was, you stepped in it. Yeah. Yeah. So, can you understand how crazy that would be for me to think? Now, I'm using an extreme example, but we could pick other things where we tend to take cop-outs. That's a poor behavior. Does that make sense? Well, I'm just like that. We see, if you want to be a better team player, we have to leave those things behind. Right. We can't just say, I'm just like that. Or you know how we are, you know how it is in this town, or whatever it is, right? Leaders rise above. That's why they're leaders. As long as we cop out, we stay within. We're not rising above. Make sense? So how do you know what to leave behind? It's real simple. I'm a simple guy. I like T-graphs. You look at people that are making money and are happy, and then you look at people that are broke and are not happy. He's also not been sleeping well. He's got bags under his eyes. So, he broke, man. How broke are you? I couldn't even afford the E. Yeah, I can't buy a vowel. I spent good money on an O already. What do you want? Money doesn't grow on trees. You know we're the kind of family that only buys one vowel. Hanging out with all your rich vowel-owning friends. Don't come back to this house and act like that. Some of the funniest things happen on accident, you know. I wish I was smart enough to do that on purpose. Somebody said, somebody asked me one time, how do I become funnier? And I was like, well, most of the stuff that you think is funny is me just making mistakes. Just so you know. All right. So you look at stuff like that, and you go, wait, if people that are broke and unhappy pout, then that's something I got to give up. Do I tend to sit on the sidelines and pout when I get my feelings hurt when something doesn't go my way? See, that's a behavior I need you to leave behind. Because I don't need to look at you and see you pouting, because that's going to make me want to pout. Does that make sense? I don't need you railing on about things going on that are unfair. You know, life's unfair. It is what it is. Things are going to happen that just are not fair. I'm going to tell you. I don't need you complaining about that, because then it's going to make me likely to complain about it. Does that make sense? And then I'm going to complain. I'm going to start complaining to Terry, and then it's going to make him likely to complain. Does that make sense? And then he's going to take it back to the Greensboro hotspot and complain there, and then likely get kicked out. Probably. That is definitely a no whining zone. Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? Like it just. That's why often you'll see, and I'm just being honest, okay? I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. That's why you'll see great hot spots, and you'll see hot spots that have room for improvement. It's behavior. Does that make sense? The ones that are at the great hot spots, more people are behaving well. So that makes more people want to behave well. Does that make sense? So you can see how behavior is so tied into performance and being a team player. I'm a team player, not just here, but I try to be a team player everywhere I go. Like, because I'm a human. I'm part of the human race, you know, humankind. So I am. So, yeah. So you guys are too. Like, we're on the same team. Yeah. Yeah. We all made up of the same stuff. We all came up upside down and naked. That's how we came out. Yeah. We all have that in common. Yeah, if you ever have a hard time relating to some people, just realize that everybody comes out naked, and everybody has a nightmare that terrifies them, right? We all have that in common. So, it's true. I have a nightmare. I had a nightmare about our suitcases one night. We're all walking and talking around our house, and I don't know what they were trying to do to me when they got me, but they were trying to get me. They looked as if they were up to ill or no good. So I was trying to get away from said suitcases. I woke up in a cold sweat. And I was like, what happened? They get me! I still, to this day, the closet we keep all our suitcases in, I don't walk by it at night. So everybody has that in common. Well, not that one specifically, but yeah. But since I'm a humankind, right? Since I'm a humankind, I take it as a responsibility to smile more than I don't. Why? Because what happens when you smile at a stranger? Okay. Well, it depends on how you smile. Like if you have that I would like to keep you smile. Yeah. If you have that you would fill out my collection nicely smile, that's different. But other than that, you know, just a normal smile makes people smile. Does that make sense? So then they're likely to smile at somebody. So behavior is a huge part of being a team player. All right, next thing. Top team players make and keep public commitments. Just so we're clear, I don't like accountability either. Sometimes we feel like we're the only person that doesn't like accountability. We think people that are super accountable just love it. Like they wake up and they're like, oh baby, who's going to make me accountable today? Right? They're not. Nobody likes accountability. Why? Because you go back to the previous one. We all tend to want to behave poorly. Accountability makes us behave better. Top team players know the power of accountability. They just give into it. Does that make sense? So they not only make commitments, they make them public. I love people. I pull for them to make public commitments when they won't. Does that make sense? Like I'm just going, God, I wish you'd make a public commitment to get better, instead of trying to hide your commitment in the dark in a corner, just in case things don't work out, or just in case you decide not to behave up to that level. You can just kind of hide from, well, you know, just like. And then if it happens to work out, you can go, hey, look what I did. You might know me from the leaderboards. Perhaps you've seen my name. Say my name, say my name. Terry has a wonderful singing voice. I kind of want you to sing my alarm for me in the morning. I'll just wake up and go, it's going to be a good day. All right. So team players make and keep public commitments for two reasons. One, when I speak up, Who is it easier for, oh gosh, who is it easier to speak up now? Oh, it's easier for you to speak up if I speak up. How about that? I'll just give you the answer. You come up with the question. We'll do it like Jeopardy. So I gave you the answer. Now give me the question that I could ask next time I want to teach this. When I speak up, it's easier for you to speak up. Does that make sense? When I say, I'm going to win, what is it easier for you to say? I'm going to win. Does that make sense? So, one, it's because we love our neighbor, so we'll speak up commitment. Two, when we keep commitments, what do we do for our neighbor's behavior? Yeah. We increase, we make their behaviors better, we give them belief. When we say we're going to win and then we go out and we win, it helps our neighbor go, you know what? I gotta let go of some of those behaviors we were just talking about on the previous slide. I got to behave better and I can win too. So that's the two reasons team players make and keep public commitments. It inspires, makes it easier for you to speak up, and it makes it easier for you to keep commitments because you'll behave like they behave when you see their results. So what commitments can you make? I love when people put those wristbands on. I love when people come out and say, I'm going to go agency manager, bye. I'm going to go district manager, bye. But now the other side of it is keeping. We got plenty of, we've already got our fill of chest beaters. And you know what chest beater is? They leave an event like National Convention like, I'm going EVP by family reunion. I'm gonna win Paris by family reunion. That's me. And then they go back and they behave exactly like they behave and they don't do anything. Does that make sense? We don't need that. Like the public commitment helps. That part does help because it helps us speak up. But when they keep it, when commitments are kept, when you see Paul follow through, when you see Leventovich follow through, when you see Diane follow through with a commitment, then you go, oh, I get it, right? Commitment builds trust. Trust builds speed. Speed builds performance. Performance builds results. But trust starts with seeing other people keep commitments. When you see the other leaders in the alliance make and keep commitments, it makes you trust us, trust what we're doing, and see Andy's follow through. Good Lord. He sends out a commitment how many cities he's going to be in, and then he's in those many cities. And the bigger you are, the easier it is to not keep commitments. Because you've got amenities. Does that make sense? Like Andy has to leave some really nice stuff to go keep those commitments. I don't understand it when broke people won't work. You live with your parents. What are you going to do? Go out and get something done. You know what I'm saying? So you got to learn then, because by God, when you have amenities, it's going to be even harder. They're going to pull on you even harder, right? But when you see Andy make and keep those commitments, you trust Andy. When you trust Andy more, you listen to his advice. That creates speed. You listen to his advice, that creates performance. That performance creates results. Does that make sense? So it's such an integral thing. Team players want the whole team to move faster. That's why they're so big on the making and the keeping of public commitments. Make sense? All right. When other people are doing what they're supposed to do, I want to do what I'm supposed to do. When other people know what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm more likely to do what I'm supposed to be doing. And if I do what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm going to be what? Happy. And I'm going to win. And so not only letting people know, letting people watch, that is going to likely lead me on the path of happiness. Make sense? You'll still deal with challenges, but you're going to be doing what you're supposed to be doing. And when we do what we're supposed to do, things work out better. It's a basic tenet of life. All right? Now, the fourth thing I see top leaders do, they stay focused. You look at the best team players on any elite team, they're people of focus. Why? Because when we lose focus, we can't help anybody. We're of no use to the team if we can't keep focus. Why? Because if we don't keep focus, we can go back to the other slides, right? We're not going to keep commitments. We don't stay focused, we're likely to end up in bad behavior. And when we don't stay focused, we're likely to move away from values. So these all kind of build on each other. But this is a big thing on staying focused. If you want to be one of the top team players in the alliance, we need you to stay focused. How do you stay focused? Focus is this simple. It's the best definition of focus I've ever seen. And if you've never heard this definition, write it down and then just write Davies after it. Because if you've not heard it yet, clearly I made it up. That goes for anything that you like that I say. Yeah. It's not like I stole it from a book. So, focus is the art of saying no. The art of saying no. That's what focus is. Focused people say no more. Do you know what the most expensive word in the world is? You know what the most expensive word in the world is? Anybody know? Yes. That's the most expensive word in the world. Every yes we say is gonna take time from us. What's the most expensive commodity? Time. Every time you're supposed to make dials and mama calls and needs you to run 8 errands. Yes. That's expensive. Does that make sense? Every time we're supposed to make dials and somebody else says, hey, we should go do this. Or we're supposed to be making dials and the video game console is speaking to us from across the room. Come, join me on a quest. They don't really talk. If yours is talking to you, you need to get some help. And we go to it. We say yes. That got expensive. Focus is the art of saying no. So what makes it easier to say no? Because saying no is hard. I'm with you. I'm with you. I want to say yes to everything. Well, not everything. There's a few things that are fun to say no to. But I'm with you. So how do you say no? It's simple. We got to be driven by 2 things: principles and priorities. That makes saying no easier. Principles. How does that apply? Well, principles, we should make that our top driver in life. People say things like, I do everything for my kids, and they're driven by their kids. Have you ever known any of those people to have well-behaved children that turn into functioning adults? Yeah. The good news for people that let their kids drive all their decisions is that the kids always stay with them. Because they never leave the house. Does that make sense? So, I mean, it works out. I mean, if you want to be driven by your kids, just know they're always going to be there. Right? Or people say, I do everything for my spouse, and they're driven by their spouse. You say, well, that's good. But what if your spouse is behaving poorly? You won't speak up if you're worried about hurting their feelings. Does that make sense? I hope that I'm not Holly's main driver in her decisions. Because if she needs to speak up, she won't. Does that make sense? That's why principles have to be the key driver. It makes it easier to say no. Okay. So God love Mama or Aunt Myrtle when she needs you to do those 8 errands and you're supposed to be recruiting because you committed to winning Andy's 90-day Madman contest. If you're driven by principle, a principle like integrity says, nope, I'm going to keep my word. I mean what I say and I say what I mean. It makes it easier to tell Aunt Myrtle no, or Mama, I can't run all those errands today. Then you can start saying stuff like, I will pay somebody to run all your errands. I'll hire you a driver, because you're making good money by saying no. Make sense? So principles. Principles got to be the key driver. What's a good place to start with the principles that drive our behavior? Core values would be a great place to start. That'd be a great place to start. Now priorities is the other thing. That's the other thing that makes it easy to say no. If you're crystal clear on your priorities. I'm crystal clear on my priorities. You don't have to have my priorities, but in my life, my order is very simple. I have spiritual priorities, family, and then the business. And I need all 3 for my life to function. Does that make sense? So I kind of look at it like this. I brought props today.
All right.
In case you've been wondering what this was. We were doing a little partying before y'all got here. So, this represents my top 3 priorities. The spiritual, family, business, right? What's the red stuff? That's me. That's me. I'm all in on those 3. Now what's the bad news? There's only so much Stephen. I know it's sad. I often miss me when I fall asleep. I understand. There's only so much Stephen. So what? And there's only so much you. When people think they can juggle 8 priorities, it's arrogance. Say, that's not arrogance. Apparently you think there's more of you than there is of us. Does that make sense? That you can have all these things in your life and do what we're doing. To think that would be arrogant. I mean, can you think of a different word than arrogance? So here's why I can say no. Because I'm clear about that, I know if I want to introduce anything else, where's it going to come from? Right? I'll give you an example. Before I was married, I used to play golf 2-3 times a week. I was good. Like low 80s, high 70s, good. I'm married now. I have children. I know people that still play golf 3 days a week with a wife and kids and a business and hopefully a spiritual life to keep together. So if I'm going to be a scratch golfer, where's it coming from? It's going to have to come from somewhere. So that means either my family's going to get less or my business is going to get less. Does that make sense? It's got to come from somewhere. I was joking around about this with my team. I used to want to be a forest ranger when I was a kid. I met a bear. I took a vow to protect, to prevent forest fires. And he came to our school. Yeah, I was like, I'm in. All right. Yeah, I met Smokey. Not Smokey from Friday. Would you all focus? So if I wanted to say like, well, I still have forest ranger dreams, so I'm going to go volunteer at the Cradle of Forestry every weekend. It's got to come from somewhere. I also used to want to be an astronaut. So if I decide, I've got money, I'm going to space camp 5 times a year. It's got to come from somewhere. It can't not. Does that make sense? It has to come from somewhere. And so if you want to be squared up, if you and me are going to be squared up, we have to eliminate. I forgot which ones were family and business and spiritual now. Hopefully I'm not filling the golf cup up. We're going to have to eliminate. Otherwise, everything else is going to get half done. And I love people I know that play golf 3 days a week. I'm just wondering, I'm hoping that the wife isn't developing deep-seated resentment over it. I'm hoping their spiritual life's not coming unglued. And whatever it is, somebody wants to go off and play this or play that. Like, I'm just going, okay. It's coming from somewhere, though. Know that. It's crystal clear. And so if we're going to be good team players, we got to set what? We just talked about it previously, example. If we want to set a good example, if we want to stay focused, we got to eliminate things that aren't getting you where you want to go. Things that hold you back, hold you back. I mean, you can't get around it, right? Extra is extra. Extra weight, extra drag. It is what it is. Does that make sense? So when it comes to priorities and principles, that makes it easier to stay focused. That makes it easier to say no. And when you see other leaders setting example in principle and priorities and staying focused, what does it do for your desire to stay focused? Right. If I start adding stuff, what does it do for my example? Yeah. See, I'm doing my best to lead people I love. I can't pervert their thinking with my example. Does that make sense? Every poor decision when it comes to my focus and my priorities is going to pervert their behavior. So I just have to go, nope, I'm leading. There'll be a time for that. And the funny thing is, stuff like golf that I don't really care that much about anymore, when I do it, like with Chandler, I have more fun. You guys I know that play 3 days a week, oh my God, it doesn't look like any fun. It's like, it's like, dude, at some point you've got to stop being surprised it goes in the woods. You know what I'm saying? At some point. I'm at a point in life where I'm no longer surprised that fire is hot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to need you to get to that point with this, or whatever the distraction is. What keeps us from setting a good example or getting where we want to go? Distractions and confusion. Focus is the art of saying no to distractions and confusions. That's how we focus. So we go back to the team player. Where am I at? How focused am I? How focused would other people say I am? That's often a truer test. Why? Because you and I, we're full of crap. Yeah. I mean, if you can sell insurance, you can sell people, right? So know that you is a people, and you're likely to sell yourself. Does that make sense? So what other people say? What would other people say about my focus, about my drive, about my determination? How much does my example look like Andy's example in this department? I was telling this to the Rancho crowd. You know, I knew Andy for 4 years before I found out something about him. Now, let me ask you this. Does anybody know if there's a particular university that Andy has a slight affinity for? Yeah. Okay, so you're all aware. No, I knew the man for 4 years and didn't know that. That's how focused he was as we were building the alliance. Sometimes people ask me a question like, how come, well, I'll tell you what the question really is. You know, I don't want to do what I'm supposed to do to build my business, so I'm looking for an out. This is what's behind the question. But the question sounds like this. How come you think it is that, that nobody recently has broken through like all you guys did in the beginning? Why do you think that is? And they're hoping I say something, you know, something inaccurate like, oh, it's because of hotspots or it's because of this. Like whatever it is they're trying to get out of, they're hoping I say, right? But the fact of the matter is, there's not been that level of focus. If you focus, you will burst through. You're seeing it on the leaderboards. I'm seeing people in my organization do stuff they've never done before. It's a matter of focus. And remember, we're talking about being a team player. What is that focus? What is the focus you're seeing on those leaderboards doing for you? Inspiring you. So those that are eliminating and focusing, what are they doing? They're being a good team player. Make sense? All right. Next thing. This is what I see in top team players. They want to be measured. They don't actually want to be measured, though, because remember we talked about accountability. Nobody really likes it. They just want what being measured produces. Right. They want what being measured produces enough to want to be measured. If that makes sense. I mean, nobody loves getting on a scale when you're trying to lose weight. What will make you get on the scale? Wanting what getting on the scale will bring you. Make sense? Because sometimes it's unfair, right? Sometimes you're sewing, you're doing all the right things, right? You step on the scale and you get like, what the? Man, I ate salad for like a week. I ate what food eats for a week. I only eat what food eats when I'm trying to get lighter. Otherwise, I just eat food, not what food eats. So sometimes the results haven't shown up and it can be discouraging. But if you want to get there, what do you got to keep doing? You got to keep getting on the scale. Think about it like this. This desire to be measured. If you tend to hide from this, it's what it is, we hide from negative feedback. And we talked about the chest beaters before. That's the ones that stop returning text messages once they've returned to their previous poor behaviors. Why? Because they don't want to be measured. Right? You want to be measured because you want to be a team player and you want to be a leader, so you want to be measured. Think about it like this, and this will help you through the potential discouragement of being measured and finding out that you're not quite there. One of the things that I do like to do is I like to cook and I like to bake. That's my stress release thing. Me and Holly we have everything divided up, you know, pretty crystal clear. I do the cooking, and then anything involving the kids and most fluids and some solids is under her purview. That was part of our swap out arrangement, right? So, has anybody ever baked a cake before, baked a loaf of cornbread or something like that? What do you do to figure out if it's done yet? Yeah, stick a toothpick, butter knife. Now, what are you hoping for when you pull it up? Right. If you pull it up and it's got some goop on it, what does that mean? Right. So what do you do? Right. If we behaved in that moment like we often behave with ourselves, here's what we would do. Oh my God, no! I'm such a failure! I tried so hard! Nobody notices! I'm just gonna watch TV. or whatever vice you want to reach for. You know what I'm saying? If we look at it in that light, you get measured. So let's say you don't win the contest. Okay. Just means you ain't done yet. You still have some more developing and some growth to do. Don't lose your mind over it. Don't get depressed. Don't reach for the Netflix and the chips. Don't reach for the bottle. Don't reach for whatever it is. Just go, oh, looky there, I ain't done yet. Right? Just put yourself back in. Just put yourself back into the alliance. You're getting there. Does that make sense? So don't let a fear of not wanting to be measured cause you to miss out on the benefits of being measured. Don't let hiding from negative feedback cause you to miss out on all that you would gain from that beautiful, precious feedback. Make sense? Now, again, we want to connect this back to the point of team leaders. Why do team players want to be measured? Because the team is better when I'm at my best. The team's better when I'm better. How will I know if I'm at my best? Unless I'm being measured. And what do we want to get measured by? Well, clearly we want to be measured in comparison to others that aren't performing at our level. That's what we want, right? Right? I mean, it's like playing basketball with a bunch of third graders. Smoke them fools. None of them got ups like me. I'm serious. Balling on them little kids, right? Playing dodgeball. I go to Tinsley's class and play dodgeball. I'll smoke all them. Yeah. Who's going home with a trophy? This guy. Yeah. They're little. Take them all out. Right? Does it help us to measure ourselves in comparison to others? I was thinking about this when, Holly went through 3 back surgeries last year, so there were often times where I had to pick Tinsley up. And the way school works, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but they're very particular about timing of stuff. Yeah, they're like, this is the time you're supposed to be here by. Yeah, it's strange. I'm like, hey man, I live in a fluid universe, brother. I don't accept your boundaries, brother, I've come to embrace a circular view of time, not linear, man. Don't put your hang-ups on me, bro. What is before will be again, man. But they don't want to hear all that. Yeah, they're like, no, you just have to be here at this time. Yeah, so there'll often be times, and there's a long winding road that goes to her school, and there'll often be times like I'm looking at the clock, I'm going, oh God. Because I don't want to be the last parent. Does that make sense? And so I'm going, I'm not seeing any line. And I'm going, oh God, there's no line, there's no line, there's no line. And then finally you catch up with the line, you're like, oh, thank God. But then you're the last parent. So what do you want more than anything in that moment? Somebody else to be later than you. Then you're just going, God, I've got to get better. And then you see somebody pull up behind you and you go, huh, it's this guy. Priorities, brother. Can you believe this? Just roll in whenever you want. That's fine. I'm sure what you got's more important than children. I believe they're the future. I'm trying to lead them well and show them the way. And all the beauty they possess inside. This guy. And then like 2 or 3 more pull in and now you're golden. You are like way not the last person in line, right? How silly is that? But we often can behave that way when it comes to being measured, right? At least I'm not like, I need you at your best because that's going to make me want to get to my best. That's why team players want to be measured by their best, not by others. Because it inspires the team when we're at our best. And remember, don't hide from the negative feedback. Just means you ain't done, right? It's a good deal, right? You and I are a work in progress. We're not a finished product. You ever seen these people that believe they're a finished product? Oh, dear God, it looks stressful, right? Because everything's about them looking good and how and any potential criticism is an indictment on their soul and their worth, right? It's like easy. We're all work in progress, baby. Yeah. You ain't done, right? So next time you screw up on the leaderboards, and you just I ain't done. Good news. We can move forward. We got tomorrow to get better, right? But if we want to be top team players, we got to want to be measured. And you're likely not going to want it, so I'm just asking you to want what being measured will give you. That will make you want to be measured enough to allow yourself to be measured. All right. Number 6, here's what I see in top team people. They're loyal people. Be crystal clear. I want to be known first as a loyal person. I don't care to be known as he's a super sharp business guy, super sharp recruiter, super top personal producer, super this, super that. I want to be known first as a loyal person. Loyal to my beliefs, loyal to my priorities, loyal to my family, loyal to Andy Albright. I want to be known as a loyal person, loyal to my Crossline brothers. I want to be known as a loyal person first. Any other accolades that come after that are just gravy. That's just a bonus. And most of the accolades that come after that are just an example, or I'm sorry, not an example, but a byproduct of loyalty. You've got to sell out and just join a team. I see these people all the time when I'm out doing hotspots around the country, and they're just straddlers. You can just tell. They just won't go all in and go, this is my team, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm going to make it happen. Does that make sense? Have you ever seen any of those people be fabulously wealthy? No. It's funny, you'll talk to some of them and it's just like, well, I sell some of this insurance, I sell some of that, and I sell some of this, and I sell some of that, and you're bringing them on, you're going, oh God, this guy's got no clear-cut priorities. Does that make sense? And they're always broke. Loyalty and happiness are going to flow from, happiness and winning are going to flow to and through loyalty. So loyalty, again, it's one of those things, it's not a checkbox thing like I am a loyal person. Here's how I often try and look at loyalty when it comes, especially to people like Holly, who I love dearly. My family, Tinsley and Chandler, I love them dearly. I love Andy Albright. I want to be known as a loyal person to him. How do I look at it? Here's one thing I look at it. I look at myself and I go, how would I indict myself on this count of loyalty? If I was to present the case to indict myself as being a loyal person in this relationship, what case would I present? Am I indictable as a loyal person? Because I want to make sure I'm giving real evidence. Remember, we are all capable of spinning the bull crap, right? Am I truly being? Where can I be? What areas can I show that I'm a more loyal person? How can I become more loyal? There's no such thing as too loyal, right? Loyalty is just a beautiful quality, and it's going to make you happy. It's going to give you fulfillment. That's where it's going to flow from. People that are never in on anything in their life, they're not happy people. So when I look at the top leaders of the Alliance, the top team people, I look at people that are loyal. They're loyal to Andy. They're loyal to each other. And can you see how that quality would help drive the other ones we've already been talking about? That quality is going to make you want to behave better. My loyalty to Paul Roberts makes me go, I need to behave better. My loyalty to Levin Tovich's makes me go, I need to be more focused. So that in case they're struggling with focus, I can help provide an example, and they'll look at me and go, okay, I need to get more focused. That way later, when I tend to lose that focus, I can look at them and they'll be more focused. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that loyalty. That's what will drive a lot of the previous behaviors we've been talking about. All right? Last thing we're going to talk about that I noticed in top people. 5. Oh, I never wrote 6 up there. I was like, where's 6? I just talked about it. So the good news is, no, I'm not done. This is what I see in team players. Andy and Jeff use this word, talking about integrity. They're authentic people. They're authentic people. You look at the top leaders, they're the top team players in the Alliance. They're authentic people. They're not situational people. They're not this way in one situation, this way in another situation. When you look at Andy, what you see is what you get. I've been with him 18 years. What you see is what you get. Is he perfect? No, but what you see is what you get, and he's trying to get better all the time. That's the example I'm doing my best to duplicate. But what you see is what you get. He is who he is. Here's why this is such an important thing to the team. There's 2 things that slow down teams big time. Secrets and hidden agendas. That will slow a team down. When there's secrets and hidden agendas. I'm really after this, but I'm going to come at it this way. That slows a team down. Why? Because that's just 100% wasted time. Hidden agendas, secrets. I try to think about it like this. I want to live my life in a way, I'm doing my best to live my life in a way that I can have open, frank conversations with the people I respect the most without having to hide stuff. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to get better. Think about this. If you're talking with your growing up line, he's trying to coach you. But you'd be like, hang on a second, Andy, we have a sidebar, with your spouse. How can Andy help us? Does that make sense? How can Andy help us if I'm not authentic with him? And I go, okay, Holly, all right, before we talk with Andy, okay, let's go over the version of ourselves we're going to present. Okay, let's go over the non-talk-aboutables. And, right? And so if I can't be open and transparent with Andy, he can't coach me to help me get better, ergo, I hurt the team. Make sense? You see how it all flows? That authenticity is that magic thing you see in people that makes you go, you don't even have to know everything about them, but you just know you're in. Yeah. That beautiful, beautiful authenticity. Authentic people create trust. We talked about that. Another quality with trust, knowing that you can be counted on to keep your commitment. You say, I got this, Andy. I'm going to hold this down. Knowing that you can keep that commitment creates trust. Authenticity creates trust. See, I trust Andy because he's authentic. I don't have to wonder what the hidden agenda is. Where I was at before the alliance, oh my God, you talk about hidden agendas. I think that was one of the core values of that company. Value 3, hidden agendas. Value 4, deceit. Value 4 helps build on value 3, for you can't have value 3 without value 4, right? But in the alliance, it's not like that. So when I look at the top team players, when I look at people that are helping lead the alliance, these are the qualities I see. And so today, as we close the TWC, I'm just saying, hey, let's just me and you work on us. Let's just look for some areas where we can move a little more. Let's just look for some areas where we can shed a little extra distraction. Let's just look for a few areas where we can become better team players. Because remember, we're never fixed. We're always going to be gravitating somewhere from the self-centeredness of the world around us or towards being that team player. And we're always going to be somewhere in between. So let's look at our influences. Let's look at what we're putting into our mind and heart. Let's look at stuff that will help us keep moving this way. Keep moving this way. Maybe we see some stuff that we've reverted a little bit. Let's keep moving this way, guys. Because here's what I know. Here's what I know for a fact. It's how we started the beginning of the show. Andy's betting on us. Andy's betting on every single one of you. When he goes out and he lays down $212,000 on a 90-day Madman contest, nothing says I believe in you like that. Nothing says I'm betting on you like that. Andy is betting on us big time. He's given us belief. Guys, what do you say? I say the next 90 days we go out and we just pull it apart. I say the next 90 days we just give it, just run it through the ringer. I say we give the next 90 days so much just you know what I'm saying? I say we do that to the degree that July is going to write in to the National Calendar Foundation and say, please take me off the calendar. I don't want those people to get a hold of me. Did you see what they just did to you? Did you see what they did to you? Get me out of here. Guys, we love you. We'll see you later.